Saturday mornings in Maplewood were usually quiet except this one. My phone buzzed nonstop while I was sipping coffee in a hotel lobby 2 states away. Notifications stacked up, texts from neighbors, missed calls, and one message that froze me. In place, HOA cited you for noise violation. $500 fine. Immediate response required. Noise violation? I laughed out loud. I hadn't even been in town for 3 days. But that laughter faded fast when I saw the timestamp on the complaint to 15. A.M. Last night, and the person who filed it, Karen Whitmore. Our neighborhood's self-appointed sheriff disguised as HOA president, Karen had a reputation strict, nosy, and power-drunk. The type who measured your grass with a ruler and smiled while slapping you with a fine. But accusing me of throwing a rager while I was 300 miles away, that was bold even for her. I immediately called her. No answer. Then I opened the email attachment she sent with the citation. My jaw dropped. It was a blurry picture of flashing lights through a window with her note. Multiple neighbors reported loud music and chaos at your property. This behavior is unacceptable in Maplewood Estates. Loud music? Chaos? My house was locked, alarm set, and I had receipts to prove I was out of state. Yet here she was, finding me like she had caught me DJNG in the backyard. I dialed her again, this time leaving a message. Karen, this is Daniel. I'm not home. I've been out of state for 3 days. Drop the fine, or we'll have a real problem. 10 minutes later, my phone buzzed again. This time it was her response, short, smug, and guaranteed to make. My blood boiled. Rules are rules. Pay the fine, or we'll escalate. Escalate? She had no idea what she just started. I looked around the hotel lobby, adrenaline kicking in. If she wanted to play games, I was going to play smarter. And when I was done, Karen and the entire HOA board would regret picking the wrong guy to mess with. But first, I needed proof. Real proof. And I knew exactly where to get it. Asterisk, I left my half-empty coffee on the table and sprinted to my room. Laptop open, fingers flying, I logged into my home security system. If Karen claimed chaos erupted at my house last night, the cameras would tell the truth. The live feed popped up first. Everything looked perfect. Front door locked, blinds down, not a soul in sight. Then I pulled the recordings from the night. In question, midnight. Nothing. 1 a.m., empty. 2 a.m., same. The only movement was a stray cat wandering across the porch. At 2:15 a.m., the exact time of the alleged party, my cameras showed pure silence. Not a sound, not a person. I downloaded the entire clip, timestamp and all. Then I grabbed the hotel receipt from my email, showing I'd checked in 2 nights ago, and screenshots of the GPS history on my phone. I was hundreds of miles away when Karen accused me of disturbing the peace. The evidence was airtight. But here's the thing about HOA presidents like Karen. They don't back down. They double down. Sure enough, as I packed my bag and headed for the car, my phone buzzed. Again. This time, it wasn't just Karen. It was an official HOA group email sent to the entire neighborhood residents. Please be reminded that Maplewood Estates will not tolerate disruptive behavior. Last night's incident at Lot 46 is under review. Repeat offenses will result in legal action. Lot 46, my house. My name dragged through the mud in front of everyone. My blood pressure spiked so high I could feel it pounding in my ears. She wasn't just fining me, she was humiliating me. Publicly, I hit reply all and typed 3 words, "This is false." Then I attached the security footage with the caption, "For those curious, here's my house at 2:15 a.m. while I was 2 states away." Then boom. Within seconds, my inbox blew up with replies. "Wow, that's crazy. Karen, what's going on? Looks like a mistake." But Karen, dead silent. Not a peep. Which only confirmed one thing. She wasn't mistaken, she was lying. I wasn't just going to clear my name. I was going to burn this whole ridiculous charade to the ground. And for that, I needed backup. The kind with badges. By the time I pulled into my driveway that afternoon, there were 2 squad cars parked out front. Blue and red lights flashing against the cream siding of my house. My heart thudded not out of fear, but from the raw anticipation of seeing Karen's smug little empire collapse in real time. Two officers stood near the curb, speaking with Karen, who had her arms folded across her chest like she was giving them a TED Talk on how to handle rowdy neighbors. She noticed me the second I stepped out of my car, and that smile spread across her face like she'd already won. There he is, she practically sang. The man of the hour. Care to explain what exactly you were doing at 2 a.m? I didn't even break stride. Walked right past her, calm as a monk on vacation, and headed toward the officers. Good afternoon, officers. Before I say anything, you should probably see this. I pulled out my phone and queued up the footage. The first cop leaned in, squinting. At the screen as I tapped play, the video showed my front porch, timestamp glowing at 2:15 a.m., the cat strolling lazily across the frame. Dead quiet, not a single human being in sight. This is from last night, the officer asked. Yep, I said, flipping to the next piece of evidence. My hotel receipt. Checked in 2 nights ago, stayed until this morning. Also got GPS. Logs if you need 'em, want me to send those too. The cop nodded slowly, his lips pressing into a thin line as the reality sank in. It was a glance back at Karen, who was suddenly shifting on her heels like the ground had gone soft beneath her. Ma'am, he said, turning toward her, you told us you personally witnessed a loud party happening here last night. Karen stammered. I did. I heard it. Music, shouting neighbors complained. Ask anyone. The second officer chimed in, his voice calm but edged with disbelief. Except the cameras don't show a party, and the homeowner was out of state. Karen's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. She looked from me to the officers, her confidence draining faster than a busted hydrant. I crossed my arms. So, officers, what happens when someone files a completely false complaint and wastes police resources? The question hit like a hammer. Both cops turned back to Karen. One raised an eyebrow. The silence that followed was heavier than the summer humidity hanging in the air. Karen's face flushed crimson. She muttered something about a misunderstanding, but the damage was already done. The officers didn't look amused, and that's when I realized this wasn't just about proving my innocence anymore. It was about accountability. And Karen, she was about to learn what that really meant. Asterisk the silence after the officer's question. Stretched so long, you could almost hear Karen's empire of HOA power crumbling in real time. Her jaw trembled, eyes darting everywhere like she was searching for an emergency exit in the middle of her own backyard. Finally, she croaked out, It must have been someone else's house. Maybe I mixed up the address. Officer arched an eyebrow. Ma'am, you filed an official complaint? You were certain this address had a party. That's why we're here. Karen laughed nervously, waving her hands like she was shooing away a cloud of guilt. Oh well, you know how sound travels. These houses are so close together. I was just trying to keep the neighborhood peaceful, but the cop wasn't buying it. His partner pulled out a small notepad, jotting something down. You realize? Making a false report is against the law, right? Karen froze, her lips pressed together so tight they almost disappeared. I leaned against the hood of my car, arms crossed, enjoying every second of this train wreck. Officers, if you need any extra footage, I've got the entire block on my security system. Should make it real easy to confirm the truth. Karen shot me a death glare so sharp it could have cut steel butt that only made it sweeter. Sir, the officer said, turning back to me, thank you for cooperating. You might need that footage if this goes further. As for now, he gave Karen a look so flat it could iron a shirt. Ma'am, this isn't going away. We'll be in touch. Karen's knees almost buckled. Her power trip had just taken a nosedive into reality. And I swear the woman looked like she'd aged 10 years in 10 minutes as the officers walked back to their cars. Karen rounded on me, her voice barely above a hiss. You think this is over? I grinned. Oh, it's definitely over. For you. And it was. Because the second those squad cars rolled out, I got on the phone with a lawyer friend. Within a week, a letter landed on Karen's doorstep at defamation notice paired with a demand for damages and legal fees. Turns out, filing false reports and harassing neighbors through an HOA, that's a lawsuit waiting to happen. Word spread like wildfire. By the next HOA meeting, Karen was no longer sitting at the head of the table. She wasn't even in the room. Removed from the board. Banned from holding any position again. The best part? A written apology in black and white. From the woman who once strutted around like she owned the entire block, and me. I got the quiet I'd paid for, plus a neighborhood that finally realized, sometimes, the loudest person in the room is the one who ends up silenced. Justice didn't just knock on Karen's door. It kicked it in and made itself at home.